Abosede, the mother of late singer Ilerioluwa Aloba, aka Mohbad, speaks with Naomi Chima about the controversies that have trailed her son's death, as well as her relationship with her ex-husband and Mohbad's dad, Joseph. It has been alleged that you left your former marriage when Mohbad was little because you were pregnant for another man. What actually led to the breakup of your union with his dad? All that happened about 10 years ago when I left Joseph, Mohbad's dad. That they have been using to fight me in what I want to speak about. Since then, they have been fighting with me, saying that I left my children. I never left my children for 10 years. I did not drop them with anyone. Their father, Joseph, was the one that wanted to kill me. He wanted to stab me to death, yet I still stayed. However, some people sent my parents a message that they should come and take me away from his house before he would kill me. Joseph is lying that he caught me cheating on him. Many people have been calling me an adulterer because of the lies he told against me. What really caused the issues between the both of you? What caused the fight was that my father actually asked me not to marry him from the onset. He did not even accept our introduction. He was so adamant about not accepting our marriage. But at that time, I was already pregnant. I had even given birth to my first child, Ibuku. Even after her birth, my dad said that she should be collected from me and brought to him so that I could come home. When I gave back to Promise and Mohbad, my father still did not accept. He wanted my mom to collect my first child from me so that I could come back home, but my mother refused. She did not want me to have children for more than one husband because if I left Mohbad's father, I would have to remarry. She begged my dad, but he still refused. It was after I gave birth to my third child, Adura, that my father and I spoke after a long time. He came to see me at the hospital back then. I used to sneak to the house to see my mom because my father must not see me. He even sent my mother out of the house because I chose to love and marry Mohbad's father. Why did you eventually leave then? Our marriage was not up to a year old when problems started. But because my father had constantly warned me not to marry him, I could not run to him to tell him all that was happening at home. I would simply keep it to myself and bear it. I did not tell anybody about what was going on. There was no third party involved in what was going on between us. He claimed I did not take care of my children. Meanwhile, I was the one that worked hard to take care of all my children and fed them. I even worked as a housemaid just to take care of my children. I would leave Mohbad, who was still very little then, around 5:30 a.m. and go to sell kerosene in the Mushin area of Lagos. I would only return home around 8 p.m. to breastfeed him. A girl used to take care of him for me then. I was being paid 1,500 naira for the work I was doing. It was from the major amount I made from all those jobs that I used to take care of my children. I never left them. There have been conflicting information about the circumstances leading to Mohbad's death. Can you give us a clearer picture of what actually happened? I actually did not know when my child, Mohbad, died. His father did not tell me. I was in his house for 10 days shortly before he died. I ran back there when I heard that he had died. I was the one who called his father and siblings to inform them. I brought them all together. I called their father to come and see me with all the children, despite all he had done to me. I did not have the strength to fight with him because I found happiness in my children And because they are grown up, I brought them all together, but their father separated us. I believe that my son was not dead as of the time he was buried. I actually told them not to bury him, but they refused. If they had not buried him at the time he did, I believe he would have lived. Joseph is actually my problem. I believe that he buried my son before he died. How would you describe the relationship between you and Omomi, Mohbad's wife? Omomi did not offend me. I don't have any problem with her. It was Joseph who gave her the effrontery and authority to treat me anyhow. He wanted to control me and Mohbad. He put all of us under her and elevated her above all of us. Whatever command he gave to her was what she did to us. Omomi and Joseph were very close, and I could not even get between them. Whenever I visited Mohbad's house, Joseph would tell Omomi to put only one meat in my food. When did you get close to Mohbad and his family? It was during the customary 41-day celebration for Liam, Mohbad's son, that I went to my son's house and saw Omomi. When I got there, Omomi's mom and other family members gathered and said I should not carry Liam. They said I was a witch and that I would kill him. My mom had to go there to query them. They later forced me to beat the child. I refused initially because I felt that if anything happened to the child, they would say I killed him. I only baited the child once. I discussed this with Mohbad, and he said that any time I went there to beat the child, I should call him. But I did not go there again after the day I went with my mom. After Mohbad's death, I left Ikorodu and went to his house. When I got there, I asked Omomi what I had done to offend her. She broke down in tears and asked me to forgive her. She admitted that she knew she should have informed me about Mohbad's death and all that had been happening earlier. She said I was very patient and tolerant. It is not like I cannot fight any of them, but I was more interested in my son's well-being. It was because of my son and other children that I did not fight anyone. Mohbad loved peace, and he did not want me to fight. Omomi and Joseph were friends, and it was pointless to fight any of them. What made Mohbad's father upset started during Liam's christening. He said they should have the ceremony in his house, but I insisted that it should take place in Mohbad's house. Mohbad actually told me not to get involved with what Omomi and his father were fighting about, and that if I was upset, I should carry my bag and leave. I reported Omomi's mom to Mohbad as she was abusing Joseph, and I left. Mohbad told me, "Mom, I cannot do what my dad asked me to do for you, but I don't want you to be supporting him because I know the truth. He does not want me to do anything for you. The major reason Joseph is having issues with Mohbad's wife is because of my late son's money and property." What kind of relationship did you have with Mohbad before he became popular? My child never turned his back on me. He loved me, and because of that, there was no need to fight anyone. Even though I knew that I stood to benefit the most from his wealth, I always told him to take care of his father as well. I asked him to buy a vehicle for his father. He rented the shop for me because he said he could not be spending on his father alone without doing the same for me. However, he later told me that his dad did not want him to rent the shop for me and asked me to keep it a secret between me, him, and his wife. I agreed because I saw his father as my enemy, and I wanted to handle the situation tactfully. I used to go and check up on Mohbad in Aboru, Ikpaja, Lagos, where they lived with their father before they relocated to Ikorodu. I had a cordial relationship with my son. I used to buy things for him. After Mohbad bought the car for Joseph, he still collected over ₦1 million from him. He kept asking Mohbad for money. There was a time you made a comment that Joseph is actually not Mohbad's father. Is that true? Joseph scattered all my children. He did not want them together at all. I'm not fighting Mohbad's father. It was actually the one I had Mohbad for. But Joseph was not happy that I reunited with my son. If he asked his son for anything and Mohbad did not answer on time, he would say I was the one controlling him. It is true I said that Joseph was not Mohbad's father. Because if he were his father, I don't think he would be behaving the way he has been doing. He's a good father who is seeking justice over his son's death supposed to be behaving in such a manner. I don't want him to spoil the lives of my other children. The lives of most of the people who have been bullied on social media have been destroyed. My son died and they were fighting with me in the name of seeking justice for him. Is that how to seek justice? They ruined everything and still wrongfully accused the people who stood by us. Members of Joseph's family started querying me about why I hired a lawyer. I told them that I did not know anything about hiring a lawyer. I asked if it was possible for Mohbad's wife to hire a lawyer for her father-in-law. That is a lie. It was Mohbad's father who scattered the case. He went to see Femi Falana with another lawyer. Meanwhile, when Femi asked Mohbad's father to explain what killed Mohbad, he stated that Naira Marley disciplined his child. Did you know the friend Mohbad kept before his death? I followed my son to some shows, so I knew some of his friends, Naira Marley and his managers, but I was always praying for him to be safe because he had become very scared of traveling because of Naira Marley. He said that if he traveled, something could happen to him. He was sleeping in different places because he could not stay in one place out of fear. Sometimes I would go and look for him. He even stopped going to his house. He only went there once in a while. I went there once to take him away and I took him to church. When he was sick, I followed his father to church so we could pray for our son's safety. But Joseph did not like to see me around my son at all. People forced me to go and fight Joseph, but I was trying to be patient. When he was having issues with his former record label, did he confide in you? Mohbad actually confided in me and told me that he wanted to change his manager. He told me that one day Naira Marley called him in the middle of the night, and when he got there, Marley brought out something. At that moment, Mohbad was scared and he ran to the bathroom. From where he called me, I then called my pastor who asked us to pray. Problems started when Mohbad wanted to change his manager. What were the steps you took as a mother to caution and advise him? I wanted to blow it open to the public so that people could know what he was going through, but his father was among those who stopped me from making the case known to the public. We actually had a 3-day vigil for Mohbad. After his death, his songs were widely streamed. Has Malian music reached out to you as regards the payment of his royalties? I don't know anything about royalties. Naira Marley asked Mohbad to attend shows, but he was scared. He called me and I begged him that the shows was from Sam Larry. Nobody has talked to me about his royalties. What is your stance on the clamor by Mohbad's dad to have a DNA test conducted on Liam? Mohbad was advised to do the DNA for the son before he died. It was his father that prevented the test from being done. The child is not a bastard, he is Mohbad's son. I don't know why Joseph is going on about a DNA test. Why are you of the opinion that Malian Records had a hand in your son's death? Sam Larry beat Mohbad, complaining that he owed him money. But that is not true. My son confided in me. Naira Marley beat him up one time and he ended up in the hospital. We had to use hot water to massage his body and he could not talk for 2 days because he was seriously beaten. He even developed hypertension. I want justice for my son. I want the police to question me, Mohbad's father, his wife, Naira Marley, Sam Larry, and Prime Boy to know who is guilty among us. When Mohbad recovered from the sickness, Naira did not want him back in Malian music. He said it was spoiling their name, and Mohbad also did not want to go back. I went with the father to plead with Naira. That was the first time I went to the house. It was Joseph that was always going there. I gave birth to Mohbad, and I knew about many things that happened to him. One of his friends, Prime Boy, was usually with him, and I told Mohbad to stay away from him. It was after my son's death I realized that he also used to visit Naira Marley. Also, there was a particular guy that was usually in their house. Whenever I went there, he would not greet me, and I don't like him as well. I also used to tell Omomi that I did not like him. Sometimes, when I went to their house, I would meet the guy on their matrimonial bed. I asked Wumi why he was resting on their bed, and she said it was Mohbad's manager. I wondered why Mohbad decided to hire someone from Marley's side, if not that he was looking for death. I often told him that the guy would disclose whatever happened in Mohbad's house to Naira Marley, because whenever he left their place, he would go straight to Marley's house. How can I be happy over the death of my son? I went to church on Sunday for Thanksgiving, and he died on Tuesday. Some people have claimed that your son appeared to them in dreams. Have you seen him in your dreams since he died? I see my son every day in my dreams. He always comes to see me. I believe I will surely get justice one day, but not the way his father is going about it. I am not disappointed that my son is no more. It is the will of God. It had been written that all those behind the death of my son will die the same way too. Mohbad stood by me every time his father was fighting me. He told me that his father was always cursing me, and he could not withstand the curses, but I told him to leave his father to God. You said you did not want Mohbad to be buried as quickly as he was interred. Why is that? After they exhumed his body, I thought he would be alive. I tried everything possible for him not to die. For 5 days, I was on the Arakiji prayer mountain to pray for him not to die. Before his death, there was a prophecy that someone's son was about to die. They asked all the mothers there to pray. I did not know that it was my own son that the prophecy pertained to. I also went to another mountain for prayer and dropped 50,000 naira for prayers to keep my son alive. Before he died, he had promised me a lot of things. With the kind of glory my son died, I believed that my suffering was over. Joseph is responsible for scattering the family. I tried to take Mohbad from him so that I could give him proper care, but couldn't. I did not know my child would die that way. Even after his death, I expected Joseph to join hands with me so that we could get justice for Mohbad. But he is doing another thing entirely. I have no doubt that God will avenge Mohbad's death. You have said that Mohbad did not know peace while alive. Could you expatiate on that? Mohbad did not know peace throughout his lifetime. He was always going from one problem to another in the hands of Naira Marley and Sam Larry. His manager was Naira Marley's brother, and I did not like him. Every time I went there, I always told Mohbad to stay away from him. Yet he was always sleeping on Mohbad's bed. I told Mohbad to keep away from everyone associated with Naira Marley. I should not work with them anymore. I had always been involved in my son's life. Every curse that Naira Marley rained on me will return to him. Did you envision that Mohbad would be popular and wealthy? Before I gave birth to Mohbad, his father's elder brother came to visit us and told us that God had revealed to him that he wanted to give us a glorious child. He said the child would be very popular and would lead us out of poverty. He added that the child would be my fighter and defendant. Most people think God has disappointed me because Mohbad died suddenly, but I believe God is not done with me yet. What is your favorite Mohbad song that strongly reminds you of him? I love the song Peace, and I implore everyone to listen to it. My son was a peaceful person who did not like trouble. I know that I am in the midst of enemies, but God will prevail. Did you believe that justice will eventually be served? By the grace of God, yes. Justice for Mohbad is what I want. My son cannot die in vain. 3 days ago, I saw him in my dream, and he promised that he would fight. People think he has given me everything. People say a lot of his things against me, but I believe those doing that, including Joseph, are not well trained for them to be saying such things about him. If they had someone like Mohbad in their families, they wouldn't have been saying such things. If they had not buried him hastily, this whole thing wouldn't have turned out this way. A lot of people have enriched themselves from this, but the justice they are supposed to be fighting for has been left for me and among me to seek.